and this complete. So hello everybody again, Holochain in action with my beautiful friend from a community, session number 10. So I hope you already reviewed the previous session. In this session, we are going to go for a deep technical deep dive, number 2 or part 2 in Kizuna Holochain application. Kizuna is a messenger application, a real messenger application, and distributed peer-to-peer actually. So in brief, I need to explain. You can find a lot of useful link in the description. So if you would like to join in this group, you need to fill out the application form. You can find the link below. Inside the description, you can find some other links, like if you would like to learn more Holochain, there is a gym implemented by lovely Guilhem here. So you can play with it to learn how the Holochain is working. So if you would like to be here, fill out the application. If you have any feedback, comment, please write it down in the comment in the YouTube and let us know. Forum.holochain.org also, it is another way that you can contact us. In this session, we are going to open the project of Kizuna. So I would like to open the project. We are going to explore the project in action, actually, to see how, if you would like to explore the project, Holochain application, where to start, how to dig into detail, how to discover a different layer. So you can learn, you can reuse, and you can see how the things are working. We are going to do that today as a part 2. So before jumping into the project, I would like to ask Tats if there is anything for the beginning. Please go ahead, and so if there is something is remained from last session or something, please. Otherwise, we can start.
Nothing from me. I'm just excited to start. Yeah, let's go.
That is amazing. So, but what is the flow? The flow that I would like to start. I'm going to ask my friend. Please just jump into the topic and ask your question if there is any. I really would like to go from the perspective that we are going to explore the project. So if there is any question for deep dive, we are going to ask Tat. For sure, we are going to ask Guilhem that anytime you see that there is any need for extra explanation, please jump in, cut me, and add extra layer, architect, design, or anything. It is the pleasure that we have Guilhem here to add extra layer of knowledge. Thank you, Guilhem, for joining also, and others as well. So I'm going to share my screen. So do you see my screen? So we need for sure some artifact and some document about Holochain Kizuna that I'm going to share with you. So I just went to the GitHub repository. I'm going to share the GitHub repository of the Kizuna. So, and you can find in the description. I just clone the repository and I open. Let's see if you are going to face a project on Holochain, how to explore it and how to see who is whom. We are going to go from the scratch. That's it. I just went to the root. Let's go to see that you can easily see. So I just clone it here. So Kizuna, inside the Kizuna, right now, we should be on a UI branch. So because it seems the current progress of development is located on UI branch. So if you see other folder, there is a UI, work directory, something fixed, blah, blah, blah. And obviously, we are not going to talk about the UI right now or later. And we are going to discover DNAs. So I'm going to go lobby and other DNAs. So it means the root folder is lobby. Let's go to the lobby. Yes, I'm going to open the project from here. So How to explore the project, this one or even other project. So as you can see, do you remember we had a session about the we did demo actually we implemented a small UI, we built the DNA application or sandbox. I forgot sandbox, yes. So in this, if you didn't see the sandbox, I recommend to go and visit that. So generally, you see the work directory here. It is the good indicator that you can explore the project. hApp and DNA. I would like to go the hApp and open the YAML. So the YAML is telling me that it is the manifest of the application. For more info, it is a bundle of one DNA, Kizuna DNA. If I go to Kizuna DNA, it didn't build right now, but DNA, it is not there because I need to use sandbox to generate it. But to generate DNA, I need to have this DNA manifest. So this DNA manifest is telling me a lot of good knowledge that this application is combined with this different zone. It means the application, it is like a modularity. This application built by group, section, or module. We call them zome, username, preferences, P2P message, contacts, and aggregator. So before asking Tabs to explain us generally overview, I would like to tell you, you can find all of them here. So it means this DNA is the combination of all these zone, and all these zone we can find here. So it is the way, the best way that you can navigate and start reviewing one Holochain application. As far as I know, I would like to open this artifact of the Kizuna to show you this image as well, that it is the combination based on the artifact that it is a lobby DNA, the root folder. It is a group zone, contact, aggregator, preferences, username, P2P. As you can see, they are here. They are here. And I would like to ask Tats for the, please go for the overview and tell us who is whom, why you implement the reason of each section. And I really would like to continue the exploration. Please, warm welcome. If you need a screen, I can stop here and you can share. Go for share.
No, I think it's okay. Can we show the picture that you just showed a while ago?
For sure, yes. So right now we are going to see the overview. It means, I think it is really big. And okay.
Thank you. Yeah, so in any Holochain application, the basic unit of modularity is zomes, as Hedat has explained. So we have 6 zomes right now in Kizuna. And these zomes, when you bundle them together, they form what we call the DNA. A DNA has its own DHT, which is like what we can call a place where public data is shared between among nodes in Holochain. And so we have one DNA right now called lobby DNA. We have named this lobby because this is the most public DNA or network that we will have in Kizuna. So this is where people can message each other in a peer-to-peer way. And right now we have the group zome as well in this DNA, but eventually we would like to separate this into a different DNA. So last session, we talked a little bit about cloning of DNA. So that is a pattern we would like to do, but I'm not going to go deep into that for today. But anyway, so this picture that we are showing right now, this is a dependency, kind of like a dependency graph for zomes and DNA. So the lobby DNA needs the 6 zomes right now. And if you see group zome, there's an arrow to contact zone. That means that right now we are group zome is dependent on contact zomes. We have some functions that makes a call into contact zone and get necessary data for a certain function in group zone to work. So
Tats, sorry to interrupt you. Can I ask this question? What is the reason of contact zone?
Okay, so contact zone is basically, it's a very small zone for an agent to manage its contact list, right? So in any messaging application, you would have your contact list, like who you added.
It means I can create my profile. I can based on email or any handler. The contact. It means it is me or.
Contact zone only basically makes a list of agent. In Holochain, the basic identifiers for an agent is its agent public key. So contact zone only allows an agent to make a list of agent public keys that it considered to be added in its list, and you can remove. Basically, it's a basic CRUD function for a list of agent pub keys. So there's two. You can add them, remove them, and also you can block and unblock. So this is the purpose for us is why we made this zone very small and just dealing with agent public keys is so that it can be used. It can be used as a dependency for other zones that would like to use it in conjunction with other zones. So that's why we're using it in group zone. For example, one example I could give right now is if you would like to add someone in the group, or if you are added into a group, if you, for example, have blocked that particular agent, then we are assuming that you wouldn't want to be invited to any groups that agent has invited you to.
So if I'm not mistaken, I think the right order we can start from the usability to understand the zone. The first one, I can start with the username. It means at the beginning, I need to create something. I need to identify myself. It means the username zone, it is the starter point. Am I right? What is the reason of username?
So the username zone, it's pretty much a placeholder zone right now, because this only allows an agent to have a username that the agent can be identified with. So that is just it, actually. But in the future, we wish to have a little more than that. Maybe there would be persona and profiles. So I'm not sure if we should share about that.
Later. So it means when I would like to join the application, I'm going to use the zone to create my identity.
More like a human readable
identity. Yes, because before that one, there is a public key and private keys already generated for me. Yes. So, and after that, I need to have some contact. So it means I have some friend that I can call, like adding friend in Instagram, something like that. And then I can say contact zone is the next one that we can think about that. It means I have some contact, I can add contact, I can block contact, something like that. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, and then the Kizuna actually supporting group message. It means I can have a channel with a group of friends. So group zone is a container for any channel with a group message. That's true?
Yes.
So, what is preferences zone?
So preference zone is where we let agents decide on. So this is a very messenger specific zone, I think. So in a messaging application, you would have, for example, like typing indicator, right? When you type, the other person would see that you are typing. Or for example, if someone sent you a message and if you read them, then the other person would know that you've read them. But we want each agent or each user to choose whether, for example, for this person, I don't want him or her to read I don't want that person to know that that I read the message, or I don't want that person to know that I am typing. So
I see.
yeah, it allows group message and P2P message to be configured so that users can choose whether to turn it off or on, the typing indicator or the red indicator for that particular message.
It means preferences as a setting of application is going to be located inside this zone.
Yes.
That is great. What is the reason and what is the job of the aggregator? Yeah. Or because if you mention aggregator and peer-to-peer are connected, you can also explain both of us, both of them to us.
Aggregator is actually, it's like the name suggests. Okay, so the reason why, well, actually, aggregator aggregates the latest data from each zomes. Okay. So, for example, for group, you would like to. Okay. Well, I think it's better if I explain why we made this zome. So, in Kizuna, we are targeting Holo as well, right? And so in Holo, Holo primarily targets web users, right? Okay. So they do not have their cells locally, right? It is hosted on a Holo port, which means when we boot up the app, we would need latest information from the cell, right? So for example, the latest list of contacts, the latest list of blocks, the latest list of groups, the messages that comes along with it, the latest list of peer-to-peer messages. And we don't want to make multiple zome calls when the app is loading just to get those. So this aggregator zome makes a call. So a call is the HTTP API call to all zomes to get the latest data and return all those in a single call to the front end, so that in a single call we can get everything we need in the front end.
Okay. To do not jump into the complexity right now, because for sure we need to explore step by step. It means we have some, how can I say, a limitation in architecture and design. So to cover that limitation, you finally ended up to create the aggregator zone. Okay, we will jump into the detail later. We are just in an overview section. So, but generally, it is the helper that you are fetching the latest version of data, which is updated for the UI supporter. So, it's quite enough. Let's jump to the last section. Anybody has question or something, please jump. Otherwise, I would like to also know about the peer-to-peer, and then we review everything. What is peer-to-peer zone, message zone?
Okay, so peer-to-peer message allows agents, two agents, to communicate with one another. Okay. They can send text, they can send any files, images, video, anything actually. So this particular zone, actually that's it. That's pretty much it, really.
That's great. It means two users can communicate to each other. Okay, so one important point. As far as all of us know, so we have a DHT. It means you can push the data to a DHT and I can read it. So for sure, when we can connect to each other directly, we have a online or on-demand communication. It means on-time communication. It means you are live, I am live, we can connect and talk to each other directly. Yes, peer-to-peer live communication. Also, this one is located inside this zone.
Yes, in peer-to-peer message, we are not we're not publishing any data to the DHT. Okay. Yes, it really just happens in a peer-to-peer way. Well, to be more precisely, with a proxy, but it's peer-to-peer in that sense. the message I sent, I write it in my source chain first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I send it to the recipient.
Okay.
And then that recipient writes it to its source chain as well.
Okay.
So messages sent and received are only stored on the sender and recipient's source chain.
Okay. Nothing in DHT.
Nothing in, well, to be precise, headers are stored in the DHT, right?
Okay.
We write entries, headers are stored, but the content
I
only
see.
in the source chain. Only in
That
the
is fantastic. So it means Kizuna application guarantee the privacy in the data and in the message. It means I'm sending my message to you directly, and you're sending your message to me directly, and there is nothing in DHT. And how you are supporting offline scenario if I'm not online? What is in that case?
Currently, we are not yet supporting offline scenario. But an exciting thing is coming soon. How soon? I also don't know. But there will be a way for peer-to-peer message communications to happen in asynchronous way. Right now, everything is synchronous. Two agents must be online. Precisely, the conductors have to be online.
Yes.
But the Holochain will have a way for me to send a message to someone who is offline. And if that peer is offline, I will ask the peer's neighbor in the DHT, the neighbors, to store that message for the agent that is offline, encrypted with I presume the public key of the recipient. Yeah. And then when the recipient comes back online, he or she or the agent, I don't know, it's a device actually. So the device asks the peer to, well, it needs to gossip, right? Gossiping. So when it gossips, I think it will get the data. So it will ask, hey, do you have any data while I was offline? Did anyone send you anything? Oh, yeah. I do. Here it is. Then that's how
that is amazing. It means the things to clear up for the for visitor. Actually, it means the solution is kind of a physical solution we are experiencing daily basis. DHL is coming, bringing me a box, so I'm not at home. They are gonna knock the door of a neighbor, deliver the box there, and giving me a letter that, hey, Hedayat, we were here for the actually box and you were not there. It is here. You can go and take it actually. And the meaning is a physical neighborhood. In the Holochain, we have also logical neighborhood. So we can talk about it, I don't know, right now or later. Guillaume, do you think a couple of sentences about the neighborhood makes sense right now? Please.
I have a question. Oh, okay. Go.
Yeah. Well, what happens if the neighbor goes away on holiday? You don't have to wait a long time for your message.
Yeah. Thomas. Let's postpone your nice question after neighborhood. Let's postpone. Guillaume, go for a little bit neighborhood and then go to the Thomas question.
I think these two things are actually like one thing answers the other. So that's nice. Okay, so a neighborhood in Holochain is a set of nodes, like let's say 25 nodes that are responsible for holding some piece of data. That's it basically. So for example, in the that's scenario, you publish your username, right? That username at the end of the day is an entry, and that entry, there are 25 nodes. 25 is like the default number, but it could be more, it could be less. There are 25 nodes that are responsible for holding that username, right? And anyone that wants to go ask, okay, what's the username? And in a DHT that is a get, what's the content of this hash? And the neighborhood returns the content, right? So you know where to go find things, right? And the most important thing about neighborhoods is that you are in a neighborhood for a piece of data if your address is close enough to the hash of that data. So you will be responsible for holding the entry of the username if you have a public key of 001 and the username has a hash of 002. Okay, you're close enough, so you're going to be holding the entry. And to your question, Thomas, at any time, there has to be a fixed number of peers in the neighborhood, like 25. If some of those neighbors come offline, they recruit others. It's like, hey, come on, we are less than we should be. Come on, help us out, and then the neighborhood restores itself to be 25 at all times. So this is like a rough explanation, but I think it's like the concept in itself is not that difficult actually.
The number is resilience number in a Holochain application.
The thing is that it's like something like a redundancy factor.
Redundancy. Yes.
The problem is that it looks more and more as if we are not going to have that number configurable. As in, the redundancy factor as a concept made sense in Redux, so previous Holochain version, but now maybe it's going to be dynamic. So depending on the entry, is it big, is it small, we need more people, we need less people. So maybe as app developers don't notice this at all.
I see. Thank you. So to brief explanation, neighborhood in a Holochain is a logical, it's not physical. It means the people as a neighbor that we experience in the real world, that my neighbor is a friend or is a neighbor physically behind this wall, it means Guillaume mentioned an address and a data. What does it mean? All your entry and data is supposed to be hashed. At the end, there is a hash number or address of the entry. So it means when the final result of hash, it is a kind of digit. So just imagine all the person that can be inside a circle that close to this number can imagine as a neighborhood. It means neighborhood in the digital DHT world is a little bit different than the physical world. So don't think if you have an agent here in this building, your neighborhood for sure is going to be physically close to you. It's supposed to be logically close to the data, at the address of the hash data. It is the whole topic of neighborhood that is really important for sure. We just wanted to touch the meaning. That's it. We need to, it's enough. Bunch of solution, architect, design, and scenario. It's going to be explained later. Before continue, Thomas, did you receive your answer, or is there any other question also?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. So there would be redundant copies of being.
We cannot hear you, Thomas.
Alternatively, you could have.
Thomas, maybe you need to turn off your video. Sorry. Go ahead, please.
How about now?
Yes, it seems it is okay.
Yeah, so the message bit from in the neighborhood would store redundant copies of encrypted, and then hopefully there will be one online when the recipient goes online.
Yes.
Is this the strategy? And then, yeah, you said 25, a neighborhood of 25 or something like that. Yeah.
Generally, yeah, the whole idea of this one, but for sure there is a more detail that if you agree, let's continue to the code review and have a full session, deep dive to the neighborhood topic. So there is no question. I really would like to explore the code actually. Let's go to the code. So thank you. One DNA in Kizuna, we start from a username because we are going to identify ourselves to see what's happening there. And then Anybody's supposed to have its own contact. Contact you can add, delete, blah, blah, and then you can have a group, and then you can do some setting on your application. Aggregator, as Tats explained, is a helper. We are going to see how it's working because it's a helper, and then we need to reach it later. Two agents supposed to talk each other directly, send file or send a message. So that's it. It is everything supposed to be explored. Thank you, Tats. So let's see how the things is working. I didn't build the project, but if I would build the project, this manifest of a DNA YAML is telling me one of the zone is username. You can find the bundle here, the wasm. When I build the actually project, the bundle is going to be 2 level upper because I'm right now here. Look, I'm right now here. 1, 2. At the same level, it should be target, wasn't known, blah, blah. So I didn't build, but let's go to the source code. Username. It is here. First of all, dependency. Oh, there is a dependence. So if I go to the zone, I go to the cargo tunnel, for sure you have enough knowledge because you are here or watching. So there is something here. It's telling I have a username on Git. Let me go to the source code. Oh, it is really simple. It's really beautiful exploration. It means the whole username, it is the external module reused here. That is brilliant. It means it is a modularity. So if you are going to use each of these zone, you can follow this one. It means go to the Kizuna username and learn how you can reuse a modularity. How it is working? Extend caret username. What is username? It is here. Username, it is this one. Let's see what's happening there. Tats, anytime you would like to interrupt me, please.
No, it's okay. Sorry, I forgot to say that. Yeah, we're using a.
No, it is okay.
Yeah.
You didn't forget anything. It's beautiful. You are exploring live to see what's happening. So what is this? It is a username zome. Identify zone in your DNA. So I want to explore this one. What can I do? I can go here. So clone. Let's see what is the first zone. I would like to. It means, guys, I selected the username from this zone. And I'm going to explore one by one. First step, username. Let's go to username. I would go here. Is there any, while I'm opening the project, is there any history, something you would like to add about username?
Yeah, we are actually, I think as we go to the code, we are going to see some interesting things, but there's a reason why we are saying this is only a placeholder because, yeah, but actually that's all. I don't want to disclose too much right now.
that is great. I'm gonna discover by myself to learn, and it means we are doing try and error, and then we would shift to you and like we switch to you, and you can continue. So. Okay, guys, we reached the username root project, which is in Git. So let's first of all go to the cargo. Is there any special dependency? It is the derived more, the Holochain SDK. This is error. That's it. Nothing special. In the code, we can discover, but it is not rely on another GitHub. It is the important point. I wanted to double check. Do you remember here? So it means, first of all, I go to the cargo to see is there any other dependency here. I got it, but here it is not. So okay, how I'm reading the project personally, I'm suggesting my way. Please add if something. I come to the lib. So generally all the public function of one zone, the attribute is this one. It means I search to see, okay, everything is lib. It means all function of this zone is here. That's it. Number one, entry definition. If you don't know entry definition, please go back to one of the session we explained. Entry definition, it means like SQL Server or something, you create the definition and then you create data. So personally, at first, I look at the entry definition, what's happening. I hope you remember path, it's for creating link, tag, and generally anchor pattern. Previous video, 2-3 video ago, or you can easily find everything about this. This definition, it means in this zone, path, anchor pattern is implemented. Number one. Number two, username entry. Let's see what is here. I'm not going to explain myself. I'm going to have an overview and then switch to tasks. So we have a one entry as a username, which is great. So, and this is a public function. It means I'm on a low disk, it seems. So right now it's not. Set username. We are receiving some username to set. Get usernames. It's receiving usernames. Agent public key and a list of username. It means one public key can have a different username. Get all username, list of username. Get public from username. Get username. That's it. Yeah, go ahead.
For the get usernames, that's actually yeah, that's a vector of agent pub keys. So actually, one agent technically should only have one username in our, well, at least for the placeholder right now. So that is actually multiple agent pub keys. So if you want to get like, you know, what are the usernames of these 3 agents, then yeah, that's what get usernames is for fetching multiple usernames for multiple agents.
I got the point. So generally, I just wanted to do overview. It means here it is the folder. I want to see the style actually. We have something here, the strike that it is public. It is here also the rest. Generally, it is the strike. In the Holochain-in-Action, we did something like that, DTO. It means data transfer object, but you can find them as a DTO. It means this strike used for the returning back data. That's it from my side. I see that this lib, it means the whole zone, it is all about receive some handler with the agent pub key and actually create a list, find a list with the path. So we can review a little bit, but Tats, I really would like you that you can do it for the overview. I just want to receive the first feeling of how the things are working.
Okay. Wait, so should I go deeper into each functions?
A little bit. It means how the system is working, because the way in the P2P holochain, the identity is public key, private key. Why do you need username? How the username is working? What is the alternative? How you use username actually? So that's it.
Yeah. So right now in Kizuna messaging application, the way for agent users to look for other users to message with is through searching a username, because it's very hard for example, for me to tell Guillem that, hey, my identity is X3HVZA, the agent public key. It's a little difficult for us to share that with others, right? So the idea is, okay, how can we still allow all of us to easily identify one another with a preferred username that we would like to? So for example, if I set my username as Tats Sato, then I don't have to I could just tell you, Hidayat, that, hey, you can search Tats Sato. So there was a function there. I think it was get usernames, right? So, actually, sorry. So in UI, we use the get agent pub key from username handler, meaning I say that, or publish an entry to the DHT saying that, hey, this is my username, Tatsato, linked to my agent public key. So then if Hidayat, you search Tatsato, you can add it in the UI as a contact. So this is in the contact zone already, like you can add it, right? But that is possible because when you search Tatsato, that is in the DHT, you get it. And then when you add it, we call the get agent public key from username. So you have the username. Now you can tell your Holochain cell to get the agent public key from the username, right? And then that's what you add into your contact list, not the username. The username is only there so that it's easier for us to get connected. Yes. But even that is only a placeholder because in Holochain, we should have a way to prevent, what is that attack again? I forgot. Sybil, is it the Sybil attack that we should prevent? Yes, so we don't want bots or whatever to make multiple accounts so easily. So there has to be some sort of way for us to identify a particular agent as a real human being in a way that is not intrusive to their privacy. So that is something that we, I think, should work on together. But for now, it's a placeholder zone. Yes.
Yeah, I want to make a point here, which is about user identity and zome assumptions, right? So what Kizuna has done here is you have a username zome. That's the only thing that has human readable names, right? And then all the other zomes only work with agent public keys, right? So actually from all the other zomes, you are not assuming how you are identifying the humans. And this is a high level of decoupling between the two sides, right? So imagine if we made the groups zome in a way that you add people by username or by name instead of by agent public key. Well, now you are completely dependent on the way that you get that human identifiers, right? If you do it this way, you decouple, and then a human identity is only one zone. All the other zones only deal with agent public keys, which is what you already have and you can assume in Holochain. Then this is a placeholder zone. You replace that zone with another zone, everything still works, right? And all the other zones can be reused in other projects. Like you can start to see the decoupling being really useful. And this is actually the same can apply to membranes, actually, but maybe more on that later.
So to brief, it means when I would like to join an application, I'm not just imagine other application also going to reuse this username. It means if you have a combination of different zones, but in each of them you are supposed to know GM Cordoba identity, which is a public key and private key. Private key is for a GM, it's private, and a public key. So I cannot remember 1, 2, 3, 1, the longest string. So I need to have a tag. So username zone generally is used to connect this public key with something human readable. So it is the brief. How you deal with the application. If I would say I'm Tats and you say also you are Tats, how the things are working?
That is the interesting part. So actually I could show a bit of code here if that would help.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Let me. I think I need to make you co-host. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Right. So before I look at the code in Holochain, hashes are a unique identifier, right? There's no two hashes or there's no two agent public keys that are the same. It is, you can say that an agent has an agent pub key and that is unique to that agent. But it is very hard to assert a unique entry. And this is the username. So here we can look at the problem. When we set the username, so this is the function. I just want us to look at this particular code here. So here, if you look at this,
sorry, Tat, can you show from the class? It means inside the source entry username, set username is...
Right, sorry. So from the lib, let's start from the lib.
Yes.
So in the lib, we have a we have a function called set username. So this is the function that we use to set the username.
Yes.
And we basically just call this handler. The handler can be found in entries, username, set username. This one.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the handler for this zome function.
Yes.
And here we check that. So if you can check here. So this particular line of code, so this is a get. This is a Holochain API for getting a particular entity by its hash.
Okay.
Right? So we are hashing the username entry that we created here from the input that the user gave. And then we are checking here if the get returns an entry. Right?
Okay.
And if it does, we are returning an error that says this username is already taken.
Okay.
Now, we've already actually experienced an interesting problem. And this is, I think, really interesting because in Holochain, a DHT can be split into two. There was a
partition.
term for this.
Partition.
Yes, partition, yes.
Yes.
A DHT can be in partition, right? And Holochain has an ability to self-heal itself. The partition DHT can come together to heal itself. But this is going to be a problem if, for example, in one partition, someone gets the username Alice, and then in another partition, another user sets the username Alice. Right? For the both of them, they can only see the partitioned DHT. Right? So when they do a get, so for example, in partition A, Alice sets, well, let's say there's a username Alice. If, for example, Hidayat is in the partition B, if you set the username Alice, this get will not return anything because the other Alice username entry is in the other partition. It's here. So here, you would think that there is no Alice as a username. So you would be able to set it. Now, the problem is when they join together, there would be two agents that would have the same username, Alice, right? So this is a challenge that, in all honesty, we don't have a solution yet. And I think it would be great to solve it together as well. And this is an interesting problem. And so actually, that's what I wanted to show. So here, this is not 100% way of assuring that a uniqueness of the entry, right? Because, yeah, anything can happen here for it to return. It's not deterministic, basically. The get is not a deterministic function. So, yeah.
That is amazing. Would you please stop sharing? I think I would like to, I think also I need a EML. What is partition? Let me explain. What does it mean, partition? It is distributed peer-to-peer. Just imagine, basically all agents supposed to be kind of accessible during the time. If I make something in DHT, or in this case that for the Kizuna, I would like to add one label to my public key as hidayat. So if all of us are connected with a stable connection to network, the get function that implemented it is working pretty nice. Nobody else can attach hidayat to its own public key because hidayat as a label is taken. What does it mean, partition? Partition, it means for any reason, the user cannot connect to each other. Just imagine internet disconnected. There is an island, so the people inside the island can talk to each other, but the internet is cut, but they cannot talk to outside. We are calling this scenario partition. It means group of people, knowingly, unknowingly, on purpose or not on purpose. So they do something with each other, they play with each other, but they cannot or they didn't play with others. It means they produce the data in two different states. As Tats mentioned, in this people inside the island create a hidayat as a username, and outside the world also I created hidayat. And if everybody come to the live, to the stable same connection, so there are two username as hidayat. You are calling the whole scenario partition. That's it. And also Tats mentioned, it is the big deal. I would like to ask Guillaume if there is something about the partition. So self-healing, please add to the whole scenario.
Well, you've pretty much said it all, and I liked a lot your explanation. The only thing I would add is that this is normally a really good thing for Holochain, right? So the ability to work offline or even in partition modes and then being able to merge, it's really cool. And this provides a lot of resiliency in catastrophes or in failure modes. And I think normally we focus on the bad stuff, which is, okay, this doesn't let us to username registration globally or whatever. But this comes from a really powerful feature. The other thing I would add here is that we need to be careful in considering vector attacks when relying on zome functions, checks inside zome functions and not invalidation rules. But I think that's a topic more for another day. I just wanted to pinpoint that today. We don't have to worry only about partitions. We have to worry about people hacking their own code. But yeah, that's for another day.
Oh, good. So we are back to the recording on the cloud because of the storage issue. So far, so good. Thank you. The last step for the username before go to the next zone. Tats, is there anything remain you would like to mention? I have a last question. That is great. So maybe also Guillaume can finish this topic. Guillaume, generally the identity management in the Holochain, it is not the things application supposed to happen generally, because what is the identity? It's the public agent keys, public pair key, private and public key. In the blockchain, the people just using some applications to create a pair key or maybe some cold storage to generate a wallet. In the blockchain world, they are calling this wallet. But in our world, we are calling agent. It means I can have a different agency. So, for example, in the Tats Kizuna messenger, I can say, hey, I want to have a 3 identity there. So it means for the Kizuna or any other application, before going to username, we need to have a previous step that I can generate my identity. We heard that the name is DeepKey. So can you explain where is the situation, how the DeepKey is supposed to play the role? Or so is there anything we would like to add or you would like to add? Or
I mean, it's tricky because in Holohost, DeepKey does not play that big a role. Do you want me to go DeepKey Holochain or no DeepKey Holohost?
So maybe both. Tags with you, both of them. It means maybe I ask Tags can generate the question. Tags, when Kizuna is supposed to be started, I can use Kizuna. Before telling that it is my public key and my name Hedaya, who generate this public key and private key?
Yeah, so there's two. Wait, am I supposed to answer the question? Sorry, I'm
please. Yes, it is the question. It means username. It means in the username, I'm going to add a label name, my name, Hidayat or Tats or Gian to a public key. What is the source of public key? Who generate this paid key for me?
Yeah, so I think I can explain the Holo side. I'm a bit fuzzy on the Holochain side, but in Holo hosting, if you are a hosted agent, right, you are accessing Kizuna from your mobile or your browser, basically. You're accessing it from a browser. You generate your public-private key pair from your email address and password. So they are stored somewhere. I also forgot where it was. No, not the password. The password is not stored, but anyway, they are hacked. I don't know. Well, they are the seed. They are the seed that generates the public key. But in Holo, that public key is also not stored anywhere. It's only living in what we call chaperone, which we don't have to. Yeah, but it's ephemeral. It's not stored anywhere. So that's how it is generated in Holo. So you basically need an email address to have a set of public-private key. Yes, and Holochain DM maybe, and also in Holo if I missed something.
Yeah, no, that was really good. The only point I would add is that the private public key pair in Holo is derived also from the application ID. So you email, password, and application ID combined form your public key, your private key for that application. That means that in each application you have a different public key, right? Okay, so that's Holo. In Holochain, what you have is a component called lair as in a cave, right, in which you keep your secrets. So that's a process that's encrypted in your laptop or wherever you're running Holochain locally, and the conductor connects to it via socket, right? So in the case of Holo, the conductor connects to the browser via Envoy, so that's a wormhole. In Holochain, in your laptop, it connects to lair, which is this encrypted part in your laptop. When you install a new application, lair creates a new private key, and that like automatically bootstraps your application. And now that that public key gets registered into something that's called DeepKey. We haven't talked about DeepKey until now because Holo agents are not inside DeepKey, right? And this is important. Cool. So what is DeepKey? DeepKey is really just a way to say, here I'm a Holochain user. Here is my set of keys, of different keys that I will be using in different applications. And here is the way that I can revoke keys, for example. So if my device gets stolen or if something happens, I can say, no, revoke that key because I don't want anyone using that key now that it's been stolen from me, right? And it contains all the rules. Okay, do you want 2-3 close friends to agree for a key to get revoked or things like that, or you have a custodian key that can revoke that? So it's these kinds of rules. That's basically it. I don't want to go into more detail now.
That is great. Thank you both. So it means there is an initial section that we need to have a public key, private key. It has its own complexity. We can open it later on, but I just wanted to know that, and others, that the user name zome, it is just a labeling. It is not the job of the generating this key, managing this key, revoking this key, the new key, the new identities is not the job of this one. So do we have capacity to go for another group also, or you are tired or something? Can we go also to group? Yeah. So let's continue to, I think we need to have tats also for another session. So I'm gonna take a look at, is there anything remain? Nothing special. If you would like to review the username, it is the handler, it is the way and using. So all user handler and the username, it means, let me go to lib here. It is the entry definition, yeah. It is the public entry. So is there anything I would like to say? It is a one username, as you can see. So get public key from user handler. Nothing special. You can read the code, you can reuse it. So get username handler, as you can see, it is the anchor pattern. We already have a full video about anchor pattern. If you don't understand anchor pattern, please go and visit that one. It use this one, get my username. That's it. So that's great. I would like to close this one and say that we review the first one, the username. Let's go back to the project and go to the next section that you remember this one, yeah? So username, and then let's go to contact. Contact, it means my contacts. So it is contact, dependency, normal Rust dependency, source. Let's go to lib, that what is inside actually. Entry definition, contact, there is no path. I don't see any path. It seems we don't need any path or anchor pattern here. Contact, it means agent ID, list of ID, created, contact type. Totally makes sense. It means I can create some contact. So, the contact seems private. Yes,
yes.
My contact list is a private entry. So it means the data is not supposed to be in a DHT, just header as a footprint. So in the data structure, if you don't know how the things on a header and a content, private entry and data entry, we already have a video that with GM totally explore the whole topic of Holochain data structure. You can review that one. So let's see what is a general function. Add contact, remove contact, block contact, unblock contact, list added generally. So list blocked. So it means the list added, the list that added. So in block. It is the things that we can learn. There is YouTube. We have a contact as an entry. There are a bunch of helper and file here. So from my side here, that's if there is any explanation, because for me, contact type, just add contact, remove and block. It means you are saving a status yes. of the contact. Can you explain what is the reason of this pattern and a little bit about the contact? I can stop and you can share.
So the pattern that we are taking here, so actually a little bit of background story. At first we had one large entry, which is we called contact list, which had a vector of added agent pub keys as well as a vector of blocked agent pub keys, right?
Can you show on the code, please? Can you?
We don't have the code, but it's something like this. I could show you. I could. It was. Oh, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Wait a bit. Sorry. Oh, we can delete this, we can delete these. Let's go to Kizuna. Yeah, so let's close everything. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Wait. We don't need this tests. Okay. Here we go. So so the entry right now is like this, right? It is, but before it was something like, we can say something like this, you know, added, and it was like agent pub key, and then blocked agent pub key. So it was, we basically had a state in the source chain that we update, right? So for example, if someone is added, we were appending the agent pub key to this list. The problem here, and so as we were re-architecting the zome with the Kizuna team and DM, we realized that this is not an efficient way of storing entries on the source chain, because every time you update this contact list, you are re-adding agent pub keys again and again and again, right? You are re-adding the state, the updated state again and again. So instead of doing this, we decided to store like an action for a particular agent pub key, right? So for example, this contact type means that and this is only a vector of agent pub key, because we also would like to, for example, I add you, Hedayat, and I add GM, right? I can have your agent pub key here, like let's say Hedayat agent pub key, and then GM agent pub key, and then the contact type could be an add, right? Something like that. This gets saved into the source chain.
Yes.
Right? And then if I remove you, Hedayat, then I would have another entry. I commit to the source chain with this contact type removed, right? And then it's just going to be like that.
I see.
For example, I would like to know the latest state, the latest state for you, Hedayat. I just basically query my source chain and get all the contact entries, right? And then check the latest status for Hedayat agent pub key. And if it's removed, then that means I have removed you from my contact. So it's like we are not storing state. We are, how do I say this? We are reducing the state from all the actions that we have stored in the source chain. And querying the source chain is really, 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 really fast. So instead of storing large state into the source chain, we just have actions for a particular agent pub key, and then we derive the state from all those actions. I hope that made sense.
That is great. It means I would like to rephrase it for a better understanding. So it means the first pattern would be you would add the list and remove from the list, add from the list. But what is the source chain? Again, source chain is your local storage for each application. Anytime you are changing the entry to add a one entry, you are saving the new entry, the whole new data. So to prevent actually or improve the performance, instead of removing from the array or remove from the list or add from list, that it is repeating the same scenario in the chain of the data, you are just adding the state to the same data. That it means you are changing a piece of data. It is my understanding. That's right, yeah?
Yes, yeah, yep. So we don't have a state stored in the source chain for contacts. We always just derive them when the UI or the front end needs it, right? So the list added, the function that you saw a while ago actually just derives who have I added in my contact list, right? There's no list of contacts that I have added in the source chain. I will just derive it. Yeah.
How the block process is working? If you block me, if I send you a message, anytime you query a source chain to see that I am blocked, to ignore me, what is the process?
Right now so that is possible. So in P2P Message, right now, we are not doing anything like that. We are doing it on the front end. So basically, right, in the front end, it's very easy to see, okay, so who have I added, who have I blocked? So I have a list of messages that I have stored in my source chain, like peer-to-peer message. So I could just check, okay, I have messages from agent pubkey 1234. Let's say, let's say that's your agent pubkey Hidayat, and let's say I have blocked you. So I also have the message that comes from you. I have the list of blocks. So then in the front end, it's very easy to check, okay, I have blocked, so I don't we are not showing it in your screen in the list of messages instead, right? But then you can unblock your someone again, right? So then the message would show something like that right now. But it's also possible that the P2P message zome, so we are decoupling it in that sense, but of course P2P message zome can make a call into contact zome. And for example, if someone sends me a message, for example, if you send me a message, in the P2P message zome, we could call into the contact zome and ask the contact zome, hey, have I blocked this person? If yes, then I am not going to store that message into the source chain. That is also possible. Yeah.
Thank you. So I would like to review the last part for the zome, and then we can wrap it up. If Kian, do you have anything? Okay, go ahead, Tat.
Sorry, one last thing. So this contact zome, I also have made a repository in the Holochain Open Dev for this. It's a work in progress, but I wish that it may be useful for other projects, because it's really like adding, blocking. It's not just for messaging. It could be for any other socially coordinating application, right? And it assumes really nothing much in this zome, so you can use it however you want. So my wish is that it may be useful for other projects too, but that's all.
Thank you. So before wrapping up today's session, I really would like to go to the lib again and to take a look at a few functions, like add a contact handler. So contact type, as you see, add. So it can be a good example for private entry in the source chain. And also, for example, if I would like to have a list added, so query contacts. So it is for sure you are querying a local source chain. Yeah. So yes. Okay. If anybody would like to query a local source chain, this is one example. Is entry contact helper. So yes, link added or blocked. Good example here. Oh, bunch of nice code. We are not going to review all the code actually, but it is good that we can show a good source and places that. So it means anybody you are designing and thinking to have a private entry on your local source chain for any design and architect, one of the good examples, you can review how to query local source chain, what is the concern or something like that. You can easily go to the contact section of a Kizuna. You see a bunch of nice query in the local source chain actually. That is great. I don't see any other special thing to mention here.
Yeah, so the check latest state actually, Hidayat, that helper function you see, The line 14 in this. Yeah. So this is the reducing that I was talking about. This is how we derive the latest state for a particular Asian pub key. Yeah, so this is I think personally, this is an interesting thing, a pattern for kind of like working with source chain. So if any projects have a lot of private entries that they work with, and they don't want to, bloat up the source chain, maybe this kind of pattern could work for them too.
Can we name it, or DM? Is there any title we can put it as a title? For example, a state something. Can you title it? What is the title of pattern? At least we can say.
Yeah, like it could be event sourcing, or state machine is also good. I like to think about state machines also. I don't know what the best title is, but it's something like this. It's something like you define actions and the way that those actions change the state, and then like the only thing that you're doing is reducing actions to get state. This is not only useful in source chain scenarios. This is really useful. I think 80% of Holochain applications will end up using this pattern because of the way that Holochain handles eventual consistency. So what do you want? Do you want to have 3 actions, like for example, min, hedayat, and touch, create an action at the same time? You have 2 ways of doing it. You can commit the new state. So for example, let's say that there are 3 apples in the DHT, and each one of us eats 1 apple, right? You can say, okay, if you eat 1 apple, you commit the new apple state, right? So apple state in the DHT is 3. If each one of us eats an apple, each one of us publishes there are 2 apples in the DHT. And that's false, because each one of us has eaten an apple. There is 0 apples in the DHT. Instead, if I publish I ate an apple, and then there is some aggregator that says, okay, there were 3 apples at first, but then Guillem ate 1 too. Hedayat ate 1. That's ate the last one. There are 0, right? You get basically guaranteed consistency all through the UI without having to resolve the conflicting state, right? So I think this is a really, really important lesson learned when architecting and developing. We'll learn many more lessons, but I think this pattern will be really, really, really useful in the future.
That is great.
I hope the Apple thing made sense.
For sure. So when the session getting bigger, for sure the performance is shrinking actually. So that's why I really would like to wrap it up today. So, and invite Tats to join us for the next one also, to continue review the design and architect of a different zone. So, and to finish at least recording here. If there is nothing else, we can say bye-bye and finish recording. And for the people watching, the meeting is a little bit longer than the recorded version, actually. So, see you next video of the Kizuna technical deep dive. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.